I've said before that I don't believe in voting. I've talked about that. How I think voting is just a way to get you to be complicit in what they're doing, and how, in my view, the way to reject their assertion that they properly have sovereignty over you, have the right to rule you, is by not participating in the ritual known as voting or elections. That's just my take on things, but then I also don't think that elections are real. I don't think that the outcomes of elections are. I don't think our rulers would leave it to chance. I think it's a power struggle, probably between different factions of the ruling class, the ruling clack, more like the ruling clique. And there are different factions who want different things. I would imagine, and which side wins out in the end, who knows how that all gets resolved. But I think that when it comes to who gets to be president, it's probably that stuff is probably decided on the highest level, where certain factions end up getting their way and others don't. And that's not to say that I don't think that Donald Trump actually won the vote. I mean, I suspect that he did, but I think he also probably won the vote in the last election, in the 2020 election, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter because at that time, the rulers had decided that he needed to go, that Donald Trump needed to go, and hence we saw the voting stopped in swing states, and then new votes found in the wee hours of the morning. Just unprecedented things that had never happened before, and lo and behold, like 10 million extra votes were found. 10 million more people voted than ever voted before in any election. It was just ridiculous. But in the last election, they decided to go with the guy that they were dead set against in 2020. Question arises: why is that? Why did they allow that to happen? Why did they allow that to happen after trying to get him jailed and after trying to kill him? Why did they then allow him to just walk right in and assume the presidency again? This is a question I don't actually know the answer to, but I have a hunch, and I'm going to tell you all the hunch that I have right now. And it's actually something that I allude to when I recorded a video on the very eve of the election, or maybe it was actually on election day that I recorded that video. And I said to myself that if Trump wins, that it'll be because there needs to be an effort made to get the people who feel disenfranchised, to get the middle American types, the young men, especially young white men, to get church-going families, normal families, non-sexually perverse people, what's called middle America, quote unquote, that I suspect that what I said was if Trump won, it was probably because the rulership decided that it was time to make these people feel like they were a part of things again, to make these people not feel excluded, not feel like their country didn't care about them, but to give them the impression that yes, they are heard, they are listened to, and they are important. And I think what I suspect is the reason why the outcome was allowed to be what it was is because if his opponent had won, if Kamala Harris had won the election, I think there would be widespread disaffection with the system to an even greater extent than there already has been. I think that you would see things perhaps reaching near a boiling point, because if people got the impression that they cheated Trump out of another presidential victory, if the impression was allowed to get out, and it would get out, that would be the impression of a lot of people. If people got that impression that they cheated the candidate who most closely represented the values of, or seemed to represent the values, because I don't assume anything. I don't assume anything about any of them. But that Trump seems to be the one who echoes the middle American type values much more than his opponent. That if they saw him cheated two elections in a row, then again, things might get near a boiling point. There might be even things like the military. The ranks are way down. There's not nearly as many people volunteering to be in the U.S. military anymore. In the past, the backbone of the U.S. military has been, white boys from, country towns. There's all different types who join the military. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not a multicultural body, but the ones that they seem to draw the most from, and the ones who seem the most gung-ho about the military, are Midwestern kids or Southern kids, and obviously when you send the message that we hate you and we want your kind to die out, and no, we don't represent you or your interests, and the things that concern you, we laugh at. We laugh in the face of those who are concerned about things like mass immigration and degeneracy and the erosion of moral values and all those kinds of things. If they just kept up with that, if they had allowed the candidate who more closely represents those kinds of things to middle America, then I think again the metaphor that keeps coming to mind is boiling point. I think that there maybe my impression is that it was decided that Trump was the prudent choice. He was the prudent choice this time around because we needed to mollify. We, the elites, the ones who really rule things, We need to mollify Middle America and get them back on board and get them to think, get them to live under the illusion that they're cared about. Get them to be patriotic and to be patriotic again, and to be and to think that their rule, the people who rule them, want their input, want their that they're a part of this country too, you know. So that's my suspicion. That's just my suspicion about why things were allowed to turn out the way that they were, even after, you know, they gunned so hard for Trump. And who knows, you know, if they're done gunning for him? Who knows? Who really knows? You know, with the 8647 thing, who knows? That those kinds of coded messages going out, you know, that those kinds of occulted messages still being put out there. You know, I'm not predicting that Trump will survive his term necessarily, but I think that's the reason why, even after, at least they tried to kill him at least twice. Once when they actually shot at him, and another time when there was a man in the bushes with a gun pointed his direction, who didn't get to fire a shot and had to flee. But both of those times, you know, that's pretty extraordinary for a candidate, for somebody on the campaign trail who's not even the president at that time. For two assassination attempts to be made against him while he's on the campaign trail, you know, that's saying something. That's going back to Bobby Kennedy, isn't it? He was the last one. Robert Kennedy Sr. was the last one who was assassinated. And I guess George Wallace also was an example of that. And I don't think either of those were just you know, crazy people who just decided to do something crazy. I think both of those obviously served strategic purposes for the power elite. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think below.